Group E, we have Spain, Sweden, Poland, and Slovakia.
COVID group.
Sorry?
Is the COVID group?
The COVID group? Come on. Come on. You mean, look, we're going to get to that in quick hits a little bit. But when it comes to Spain, going into the tournament, I thought, man, we have a lot of good players. I like Luis Enrique because one of the people I respect most in football, Franco Baldini, once said, Luis Enrique is the man all people of good conscience secretly wish they were. And it's one of those kind of cryptic quotes.
Okay, yeah.
But then I look at this, and between the weirdo choices he made, I can say, like, you're going to walk away a fool or a king. You're going to walk away from this Euro being like, aha, you decided to be unconventional. You decided to leave Nacho at home and bring Eric Garcia and
Sergio Ramos,
all these choices, right? And bring 24 players instead of 26.
Yeah.
And it worked out for you, and then we're all going to praise him, and Malcolm Gladwell will write a book about him and whatever, right? Or people say, like, dude, we just had a pandemic. Everybody's stretched. And what do?
Yeah.
You make these stupid choices. You choose now to go and be unconventional and whatever, and you screw everything up. This is kind of the crossroads, right?
Yeah, it is. You're right.
I don't mind somebody putting themselves on the line like that.
No.
And I respect Luis Enrique for that. I just don't know it's going to work.
Yeah, and I don't think he knows himself, to be fair. And also, I mean, he's had a rough time, of course, and he was out of the game for a while for the reasons that we know, and his family, and then came back, and then we see some really good things, of course, the way they destroy Germany. And then sometimes you watch them play and they have a lot of the ball and they do nothing with it. And you think like, okay, how is this going to work? You know, maybe their best player is Marcos Llorente, who's going to play a right back. He looks well. Certainly that's why he played against Portugal in a friendly just before the start of the tournament. And on top of that, you've got all this mess with COVID. The fact that players train on their own. The fact that they've got like loads of bubbles everywhere with under 21s being there in case ready. The other 6 not under 21, preparing just in case, and none of them might play.
Kepa and 5 other dudes.
Kepa and Albiol and Rodrigo and people like that. And you're thinking like, wow. Plus no Busquets and no Diego Llorente. And you're thinking like, how is this going to work? Unless you use this to make yourself stronger when you finally all get together and the tournament starts. But I don't know. And this is not a group as well where you could just go in and think, oh, this is okay. You know, even if we're just 50%.
It's a good point. I really like Gerard Moreno.
Me too.
And I think if you can ride the form that he's been, 30 goals is a ton of goals in a season. And he's so unselfish. He's one of those strikers that, you know, it's a bit like, he's like a poor man's Harry Kane. He scores and he assists and he does all this other stuff off the ball, which not many strikers do. But I just have so many question marks. I feel like I don't have any idea what Spain are going to look like when they actually show up. And that's why I project forward. I look at Sweden and Poland and I say, these are some pretty good, solid, pretty really deep good, sides. Yeah. Sweden, you know, if they do well, people are going to say it's a blessing in disguise that Zlatan didn't show up. But Isak, certainly 17 goals this season for La Real. Yeah. It feels like he's found his dimension. This is a guy who, you know, scored on his debut when he was 16 years old and then scored again in the next game too. And everybody thought it was going to be the big thing. Went to Borussia Dortmund, that factory of young talent, and did nothing, which maybe not.
Maybe it was a bit too early, yeah.
Yeah, maybe Borussia Dortmund don't always get it right. But then he's really come into his own. And you've got, you know, Emil Forsberg, the little elf, who is fit going into it. And you have a pretty solid defense as well. Yeah,
it's a right blend between the experience and the youth. It's just about Kulusevski. I think if Kulusevski ends up missing this tournament because of his positive case of COVID, I think that could hurt them a lot. Because whether he was going to start or not, it's a different. He's such a talented player.
He's such a game changer off the bench.
Yeah, exactly. And had such a good end of the season with Juve, with quite some momentum, with some good performances, that I think he would help them a lot. But this is a team that has gone fine tournaments before, that again, as we said, has the experience, the youth, some really talented players, and I think Isak can be a really good. It wouldn't be a revelation because we know him, but you know, like in a first tournament like this, could do really well.
Poland, you've got arguably the best center forward in the world, unarguably the guy who broke Gerd Muller's record in 5 fewer games, and who brings so much and carries the whole attack by himself. That's pretty impressive. He's got the guy to set him up in Piotr Zielinski, the poor man's De Bruyne, as I like to call him. there's a lot to put stock in Poland, and they made an interesting choice because in the past, it felt like they were less than the sum of their parts. They have a manager in Paulo Sousa, and look, international management is so hard to judge, especially over the last couple of years because they had so little time. But I thought Paulo Sousa was a brave choice because he's a proactive manager. He's a ball-playing manager. He's a guy who's not afraid to take risks. And I think in some ways having a foreign manager frees you a little bit from a lot of the pressure that sometimes you would face at home.
Yeah.
Are they better than Sweden? Can they win the group?
My only issue is that they usually don't do it in those big tournaments. You know, very many.
That doesn't matter.
But it does, Gab.
Don't bring up the usually past because
I know, but still,
different eras, different players, different environment.
I know, but this is a squad that's been together for a long time as well, and I just wonder if psychologically there's a barrier there somewhere. There's a hurdle that they can't go over to do well, like they should do with the squad that they have, or certainly better than we've seen them recently. So. I don't know. I think Sousa is a very good appointment. And I think Lewandowski, and I know it's different to play with this team than to play with Bayern, but if he carries that momentum a little bit. But again, he will have, I feel the pressure on Lewandowski is so big. It's like, okay, you have to carry pretty much all of us and then qualify us for the next round and then try to go one further in the quarterfinals. And I just think it's a lot of pressure on one guy.
It's a ton of pressure, and it's one guy who's going to have a different supporting cast, obviously, than he has at club level, which is used to some degree. But it's still, I think, a big ask for them.
It is.
If we had to predict, is this one of those groups where it's likely 3 teams go through?
I think it would be one of the groups where the third qualifies. Yeah.
And everybody beats up on poor old Slovakia. Now
we like Marek Hamsik, of course we do. Who doesn't? But you know,
it's a story, though, right? He spends 10 plus years in Naples, becomes iconic with a big mohawk, goes to China to make some coin, comes back. I think he went to Gothenburg. He's going to go to Trabzonspor next year. But it feels like a lot of the historic players that Slovakia had, who are older now, who got them to tournaments and caused some upsets in the past. Yeah, these dudes are all gone now. Yeah, and he looks around and he's like, yeah.
I know, and that was a great generation for them. I mean, to do well, and I just think now they might be a little deep in terms of talent coming through, maybe, and that it's good for them to be there. It's great experience for some of the younger ones, and they will try to make it worth and be solid and hard to beat and all of that. I just don't think they've got enough in that group, certainly.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.